So one of my favorite things to make on the grill in the summertime is foil pack meals or like foil pack side dishes. And so today's recipes are all about being outside of the grill, making these foil pack awesome foods. And I also have a sweet treat I'm gonna be sharing. We're gonna be putting that on the grill as well. And if we haven't met before, my name is Ange, welcome, and this is the Menu Made Kitchen. Okay, so for our first foil pack meal, I'm gonna be sharing a pineapple barbecue chicken. This is absolutely delicious. It's so fresh, but it has lots of smoky and sweet flavors. It's really easy to throw together and you can eat it just like it is with the chicken and veggies and pineapple, but you can also add some steamed rice or make whatever kind of carb you want on the side. These are so delicious. I'm super excited to share them with you. All right, so for our pineapple barbecue chicken foil packs, I already got my chicken and my veggies and pineapple prepped just to make this video a little bit quicker. But I started with the pineapple, and what I like to do with the pineapple is I will cut both ends off, and then I just stand it up on one end and slice off the skin. And then I look for the little center knob that's kind of tough in the center of the pineapple, and I just cut around that and then cut it into little pineapple cubes. So it's really, that's the simplest way that I know how to do it. If there is other quicker ways to cut a pineapple, please let me know in the comments. And then I just prepared a few veggies. I've got some red pepper, yellow pepper, and some red onion, and I diced them into about the same size as I did the pineapple. And then for our chicken, I have 4 chicken breasts here. I like to slice these up first before I add them to the foil pack. That way, when we go to eat them, it's already ready for me to eat. I don't have to slice into the foil or transfer it to a plate and dirty a plate. So I find this to be really simple in doing it this way. So the only thing left to do is we're gonna make our simple barbecue sauce, and then we're gonna assemble these in our foil packs. Okay, our really simple barbecue sauce, we're gonna start with a 1/2 cup of barbecue sauce. You can use your favorite brand. We love the Sweet Baby Ray's, no sugar added. And then I'm gonna add in 1 tablespoon of chopped up pickled jalapeno. If you have a fresh jalapeno, even better, but I didn't have one of those. And I'm only using this amount because this is a really spicy brand that I have. And then we're gonna do 1 teaspoon of, oh, it looks like I'm like almost out of smoked paprika. I think I might have a teaspoon left, we'll see. 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika. Okay. And then I'm gonna do 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning. You can also do some oregano if you have that. And I'm only gonna do about 3/4 of a teaspoon of garlic powder. We're gonna add in 1 tablespoon of avocado oil, or you could do olive oil. And then I'm gonna juice half of this lemon in here. You're gonna want about a tablespoon or 2. All right, and I thought I'd adjust my camera so you could kind of see what was going on in there. I'm gonna mix this up until everything is basically combined. Now we are going to be adding some fresh cilantro to our dish. You can add it into the sauce if you want to kind of tone down that cilantro flavor. Add it to the sauce and cook it with the chicken. I love the taste of fresh cilantro, so I'm going to save it for the very end and sprinkle a little bit over the top right before serving. You do what you're comfortable with. That looks perfect. All right, now we get to assemble our foil packs, and I have 2 sheets of foil per chicken and veggie pack. I want to make sure that this doesn't split open during the grilling process. But I need to get this sprayed with a little bit of cooking spray. This is just the olive oil, extra light. So just a little bit, because we did add some oil to our barbecue sauce. I think it'll be just fine. And then next, I'm going to add a good heaping cup of this pineapple veggie mixture right in the center of my foil. I'm going to use my tongs over here to kind of scoop up the chicken and kind of help it out with a fork. That way I don't have to wash my hands every single time. And you lay the chicken right on top. Isn't that so cute? I love it. All right, and we do need to season the top of the chicken with a little bit of salt and pepper as well. All right, and then next comes the barbecue sauce, and I'm gonna take a really generous spoonful and just pour it right over the top of the chicken. I'm gonna be careful not to touch my spoon to the chicken because I'm gonna reserve a little bit of barbecue sauce at the very end, right before serving. All that's left to do is we're gonna fold in the sides. I like to kind of pinch them together and kind of roll it up a little bit to create a seal. Seal? I had this conversation with my husband the other day. Okay, just like that. And then I'll take these ends and we'll just fold them towards the center and kind of pinch it off a little bit. I mean, as long as it's all folded like a present, It doesn't have to be perfect. You just want things to be kind of sealed. Perfect. All right, 1 down, 3 more to go. All right, all of my foil packs are ready to go. Now, if you don't have a grill, no problem. Just heat your oven to 350 and you can cook these right here on a sheet pan like this for about 35 to 40 minutes. You'll probably want to check your chicken to make sure that it's cooked through and the veggies are tender. But I'm gonna pop these on the grill because I love to do anything outside that's on the grill, especially during the summer. So I've got my heat set to about medium-high heat, and we'll put these on and cook them about 30 minutes or so. Check them and make sure that the chicken is cooked, and then we get to taste these. All right, this is so exciting. I just love like little packages of food like this. I put it on a paper plate because I want easy cleanup. I don't want to have to do any dishes. So I cooked this for about like almost 30 minutes, and the chicken and the veggies were perfect. Every grill is different, so you're just gonna have to play with your own heating settings. I had some leftover rice in the refrigerator, and so I just heated it up and put it on top of the chicken, and it'll soak up all the juices. But you could even pull out a pack of Uncle Ben's rice if you use something like that, or make rice. Really simple. But if you don't want to have to cook or do anything on the stove in the kitchen, the Uncle Ben's rice, it's where it's at. The flavor of that, and oh my goodness, that is so freaking spicy. That 1 little tablespoon of jalapenos, I've got to find a new brand because that jar, like 1 jalapeno burns my lips off. But the flavor of this barbecue sauce and that extra liquid in there to soak up in the rice, this is delicious. I cannot wait for you to try this. So easy, very little cleanup, and just a fun way to serve dinner. Okay, so for our loaded baked potato foil packs, we're gonna start by getting our potatoes cut up, and I'm gonna leave the skins on because that's how we like to eat our baked potatoes. And I'm only making enough for 2 servings. So I decided 3 medium-sized potatoes would be perfect, or you could do like 2 huge baker potatoes. But I just had a bag of potatoes and picked out the 3 medium-sized ones that were in the bag. So I like to cut these into, you know, pretty good size chunks. I would say like, you know, like 1-inch pieces should be pretty good. We love baked potatoes in our family. We probably have them once a week. I bake potatoes, and that's what we have for dinner. Sometimes I'll make a side salad. Sometimes I'll do some green beans. But it's such an easy dinner, and it's always delicious. My daughter and I actually, her and I used to have like this standing baked potato night every Wednesday when my husband used to work later. And we'd watch Little House on the Prairie and have baked potatoes. We looked forward to that every Wednesday for years, really. So we don't have that fun little appointment time that we do every week, but we still like baked potatoes. So I'm gonna add all these potatoes to this bowl here. You can really get creative with the seasonings. I like it to be very simple because I still want to taste that potato flavor and then the bacon and cheese. But gosh, you could add so many different kinds of seasonings to this. First up, we gotta add a little bit of oil. I'm gonna do about a tablespoon of olive oil. We are gonna be adding some butter, so I just need a little bit. And then I'm gonna do about 1.5 teaspoons of seasoned salt. Very basic seasoning. This has paprika, garlic powder, obviously salt. And I'm also gonna do 1 teaspoon of black pepper. And that is it for the seasonings. I'm gonna give this a toss and make sure all the potatoes are coated well with the seasonings and oil. Okay, so I've got my sheets of foil here. I like to do 2 layers. I usually do 2 layers when I'm doing anything with the foil pack, just to make sure it doesn't split open. So we definitely want to get this nice and greased to make sure that the potatoes don't stick. Sorry, that's super loud. Okay, and then I'm gonna add half of the potatoes to my foil pack here. And the reason I like to have this sheet of foil so big is I like to make sure that the potatoes are kind of in a single layer. That way they kind of crisp up. All right, and then I have some butter here that I've just cubed up into little small pieces. And I'll just dot the top of my potatoes with a few of these little pieces here. It equals out to be, I would say, roughly a tablespoon, maybe half a tablespoon per potato. I definitely don't want to drown this in like oil and butter, but you know, butter on a baked potato, it's the best. Okay, so I'm just going to turn my sides in and just kind of smoosh it down a little bit. And then we'll turn that side in. And then this long piece should cover the top of that. Because we are going to be flipping the potatoes over on this side as well to kind of make sure that both sides get cooked and get a little bit crispy. Okay, let me make my other foil pack. All right, our potato packets are ready. I have the grill on like a medium-high heat, and I'm gonna grill these for about 20 minutes. I'll flip them every 5 minutes just to make sure that they evenly cook, and then we'll open them up and check them out and make sure that the potatoes are tender. So while that happens, I need to get my bacon crispy in the microwave, and I'll shred some cheese. We get our onions sliced, and then we get to dive into these. Okay, this is ready to try. I don't want to tilt it too much because it's going to slide off my plate. And if you can hear noise in the background, my brother is actually here washing windows. Okay, I love my potato fully loaded, bacon, sour cream, green onions, but you could really have fun with this. You could serve like a side of chili and you could top it with chili and cheese. You could do steamed broccoli and cheese. I mean, so many options, I feel like. Yum. Okay, here we go. It truly is like eating a baked potato, only up a notch. The flavor with the seasonings on the potato and then having it grilled like that, this is fantastic. It could be a meal, it could be a side dish, and it was so easy, 20 minutes on the grill. You can also throw these in the oven, and I'll make sure to have those instructions on my website. Super delicious. If you decide to serve this for your family or friends, they are gonna flip for this. It is so yummy. Out of all of these foil recipes, this is the one I am looking forward to the most. And it's not really a foil meal, but I am using one of these disposable kind of foil-ish pans, right? So these s'mores nachos, I've never had these before, but I think they're just gonna be amazing. I'm really excited about them. So I took 9 sheets of honey graham crackers, and you can definitely just break them in half and put the squares in there. But I kind of wanted there to be like some shards, almost like chips. So I just took each half and then I just broke it like that. So it acts as almost like a chip. And then that way, when you go to serve it, it's kind of easy to grab just a couple biter. I think it'll be perfect. So we're gonna be layering the ingredients. I've got, of course, my graham crackers. We have our marshmallows, some mini marshmallows. And then I have some Hershey's chocolate chips. And then I also have a Hershey's bar, just a small one here. And I'm gonna break this up and add it to the top so people kind of know, oh, it's a Hershey's s'mores like situation, which they'll already know that, but I thought these would be fun. All right, so I've got my assembly line here. I have buttered this dish, and even though I'm gonna throw it away when we're all done, I still wanted to make sure that the marshmallows didn't stick too badly to the bottom. So I'm gonna add a layer of the graham crackers to the bottom here. I was kind of searching for like foil s'mores, but I really couldn't find anything. It probably is just really difficult to have that kind of dessert in a foil packet. And so the whole s'mores nachos came up, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect because my family loves s'mores so much. We are definitely a s'mores family. And I might need more graham crackers actually. So I thought this would just be perfect. Like it's kind of a sheet pan s'mores situation. So we've got a layer of graham crackers down. I'm going to take a handful of these mini marshmallows and scatter them right over the top. And then we're going to take a handful of the Hershey's chocolate chips. Again, just put on as little or as much as you want. I mean, obviously too much of it and you're not going to be able to pick up the graham cracker. All right, and then another layer of the graham crackers. I mean, this really does make a lot. This is a bit much for my little family of 3, but that's okay. You get the idea. Another handful of mini marshmallows, more chocolate chips. All right, so I just grabbed a couple more sleeves, and I think I'm just gonna kind of lay these on top, like so. How fun! Okay. Now just getting the marshmallows to stick. That is going to be the tricky part. And the only thing left to do is I'm going to place, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 of these chocolate squares right on top. That looks good. Yeah, just that little bit. All right, so now I'm going to place this on my grill. I have it set at like a medium-high heat. I'm not going to cover it. And I think it's only going to take probably 5 to 8 minutes before everything's kind of melted down. I'm hoping that the marshmallows will toast up a little bit, but if not, it's totally fine. You can also put this in the oven and do it that way. Put it under the broiler or put it in the oven at like 400 degrees to get everything melted down. So I'm going to head out to the grill and get this on so that we can taste this. Okay, is this not so much fun? Look at this. S'mores nachos. I am really impressed with how well this turned out, but as I walked away from the grill and thought, okay, 5 minutes, I thought, no, I better check this like in 2 minutes because it was on high, and in 2 minutes, the top of the marshmallows were already golden, and I let them go a little bit longer. I actually like my marshmallows burnt when I have s'mores, but not everybody likes that. So anyway, check this out. Look at that. So yummy. And it still is messy, but I think it'll be really fun to eat. That warm chocolate. And actually, I think this is way easier to eat than a sandwich. It takes a lot less time. I can just make a batch of it for all my friends or guests that come over or my family for tonight. This is awesome. I don't think I'm gonna want to do s'mores any other way. This is so great. So gooey, warm, toasty, delicious. I can't wait for you to try this. All right, so for our marinated steak and potato foil pack, we've got to start by marinating our steak. I have about 1.5 pounds of just petite top sirloin here, and I've cut it into like little small 1-inch cubes. Actually, they're a little bit bigger than that because I want to make sure that the potatoes have time to cook before the meat cooks, because this will obviously cook pretty quickly, especially if you like your steak more on the medium or medium rare side. So I'm going to add all of the steak here to my large Ziploc bag. And even though we're going to be using this Italian seasoning for our marinade, I am going to add a little bit of salt and pepper to the steak just to make sure that it gets well seasoned. So I'm probably going to do about 1/2 teaspoon of salt in with the steak, about 1 teaspoon of pepper. I really like my steak to be good and peppery. And this bottle is almost full. I'm going to add probably about half of it or more. I really want to make sure that all the steak gets well coated, and you can use any kind of Italian seasoning that you, or I'm sorry, Italian dressing that you like. This is just our favorite. We love this brand, and I like to buy the light. I just think it's better even than the regular one, but whatever you like. Okay, so we're gonna zip this off here, get all the air out. And I'm just gonna give this a good little smush. And we're gonna put this in the refrigerator. We're gonna marinate this probably an hour. You definitely wanna do at least an hour, but you can marinate this overnight. I've actually taken this camping before. Well, it was more like glamping, but I marinated it or put everything together the night before, and then we didn't even cook off the meat until later on the next evening. So it was well 24 hours and it was perfect. So you can definitely do this the day before. I'm gonna get this in the fridge. Once this is marinated, then we can move on to the next step. Okay, our steak has been marinating about an hour and I wanna get my potatoes sliced up. So I've got some red potatoes here. These are like medium to smallish size. I'm gonna leave the skins on. I've already scrubbed them and I'm gonna slice these pretty thin, not thin like if I were to use a mandolin. I don't want them to be paper thin because I feel like they would kind of turn into really thin chip like, and I still want them to have some potato meatiness to them. So I don't know, roughly like a 1/4 inch thin. That should be good. So I'm gonna get all of these sliced up and then we'll move on to the next step. All right, and then in an effort to keep our cleanup really minimal, I'm gonna add these to a large Ziploc bag. Obviously you can put them in a bowl, but I just don't wanna have to do a bunch of dishes. And then I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of olive oil, and then I am gonna do 1 tablespoon of melted butter. And this will just give them that buttery flavor. And then we're gonna do 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. I've got 1 teaspoon of black pepper, and I'm gonna do about 3/4 teaspoon of garlic powder. And that is it for the seasonings. You can definitely add more, but because the steak is so heavily seasoned with the Italian dressing, that's gonna kind of seep onto the potatoes. So I wanted to keep the seasonings really simple with these. Zip up the bag, and same thing like with the steak, just give everything a good toss so every potato is well coated. We're gonna do the same thing that we did with our chicken. I've doubled up the foil. I sprayed it with nonstick cooking spray. And I'm gonna throw down the potatoes first. Basically, I'm just gonna divide all these potatoes between my 4 foil packets. I'll just guesstimate what I think needs to go down. And then I'm gonna top the potatoes with this marinated steak, leaving behind most of the marinade. Obviously, if some of it ends up on the potatoes, that's fine, but I'm not gonna pour any of the excess marinade that's in the bag onto these foil packets. These smell so good already. That looks pretty good. Okay, and then I am gonna fold these a little bit different than how I folded the barbecue chicken. I'm gonna pull these sides in first because we are gonna be flipping the foil over and cooking it on both sides because I wanna get a little bit of color on the steak. So fold that over, make sure it's nice and sealed, and then we're gonna fold this half over. Pressing down, you kind of want this to be flat, like that's what we're going for. And then I'm just gonna turn it into a little crescent here. Fold the corners in. There will probably be some juices that are gonna come out of this, but that's totally fine. I'm not gonna sweat it. That is perfect. It's like a little package. Everything is nice and tight in there, which is what you want. So I'm gonna get the rest of these assembled and wrapped up, and then we'll head out to the grill. Okay, as you can see, I added just a little bit of parsley to the top just to make it look pretty. I did a little more salt and pepper, and then I like to have my steak with steak sauce. I know that a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, how could you ever put sauce on a steak? But I just do. It doesn't matter if it's the best cut of meat or the worst. So you do you. Looks so good. Okay, let's give it a try. Those potatoes are cooked perfectly. They're so creamy, and that little bit of crispiness around the edges, and the steak is absolutely delicious with that Italian seasoning marinade. I could eat like this all summer long. Easy, barely any cleanup. I'm thinking a side salad, or maybe even some canned green beans. I think you're really gonna enjoy this foil packet meal. Well, I hope today's video gave you some fun and fresh ideas to put on your grill outside. But remember, you can also do these things in the oven if you don't have a grill. You'll have to let me know which foil pack meal you're gonna try first, or if you are just gonna go straight for the dessert. And don't forget, all the recipe links can be found in the descriptions. And if you're new here, I'd love you to be part of my YouTube family, so make sure to subscribe. I hope you have a really blessed week, and we will see you next time.